Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let Thrive.
Thrive. What is up, Micah? Man.
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. How you doing, man?
Oh, doing pretty good, man. Glad to have you back on the show.
Yeah, been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. Yeah, and I see you changed up the studio a little bit. You turned, or at least turned the camera around.
Yeah, changed up a little bit. More changes to come.
More changes to come, man. It's glad to have you back. We're gonna have some fun today on a great. We're gonna have a great show on this episode 260 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world, coming at you from Fort Worth and Arlington, Texas. Micah,
Let's go, man. What episode? What number you say?
260.
Woo, let's go, man.
Coming at you. So we have a special guest, Micah.
Who we got?
Mr. Jeff Brown is joining us. Jeff Brown has a little short bio here. He owns 14 themed units. Can't wait to jump into that. And has also founded the world's first listing optimization software that buses source data. I have no idea what that means. Micah probably does because he's a computer guy. And it's called Intellihost, and he's going to tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, Jeff Brown.
Thanks, my friend. Happy to be here.
Awesome, man. So first, let's jump into those themed units because we're always talking on this show. It fascinates me. I love it when people use their, creativity to make these short-term rentals and stuff like that. So where are these themed units located? Are they houses, condos, apartment, whatever they are? And what kind of themes are they?
Yeah, great question. So we've got four, we call them theme park or extreme B&Bs in Orlando. So we're very data driven, and we picked some themes that work for the area that we're in. So in the four that we have in Orlando, they're 8-bedroom homes. And we've put in we've muraled the walls, we've got fog machines, we've created like space experiences and wizard house, and we've got, I mean, it runs the gamut. We've got like a Jurassic house, a castle themed house, and they're all custom carved beds. So they're meant to be immersive experiences for our guests, and we can charge a premium for that. So we've got those, and then we've got like 9 homes in Panama City Beach, Destin area. Yeah, really nice. For that, we've done some themes, but they're not like theme park themes. They're more, we have one called the Gatsby that's like a roaring 20s vibe. We've got one that's like the Beverly, that's like a Beverly Hills hotel theme. And then we've just started expanding into the Poconos. So we've got some there. So that's our business so far.
That is so cool, man. And real quick on Orlando, because I've always heard it's so saturated over there. You got to bring it, man. You can't bring your B game. So you can not doing a theme or not going all out is not an option, right?
Yeah, especially now. I mean, when we jumped in like 3 years ago, the theming that was being done at the time was like, oh, you throw up a Darth Vader shower curtain and you're good, you know. But now, I mean, you got to go a whole nother level. And I feel like I want to say we started upping the ante. When we jumped into the game, we thought, well, like you said, you have to be different. So we hired theming contractors. I mean, we put like 250 grand in staging and theming into one home.
$250,000.
Yeah. I mean, it paid off, but we really took a huge risk on that because there was thousands of vacation rentals in the same spot. You have to be different. They're all the same layout. What are you gonna do? So we did.
Now I have a question on 250K because that's the most I've ever heard of a startup. Now, what's the return on that? Like, how much do you guys like gross a year off that?
Yeah, so that home does almost 300K a year. It's to give you an idea of like how much the staging means. We bought the home for about 450K. A typical home in that same area is in a neighborhood where they're all the same cookie cutter. So these are all very, very comparable homes. But a cookie cutter home in that area would do about 80K in revenue a year. So putting in 250K got us to about 300K in gross revenue. So yeah, I mean, run the numbers, it was worth it for sure. but took a big risk in doing it. So kind of have to have a pair. You know.
Yeah, and it paid off for sure.
Sure.
And I will say, I will ask you this, because how safe is it? Because I know you put a lot of money, you know, of course, a lot of time, effort, and then money into this, and it's paying off. But you're not afraid that they're going to shut down, they're going to start throwing regulations at these cookie cutter houses, you know what I'm saying, for short-term rentals and near Disney. Disney wants all the money now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we picked the area because we thought it was the least likely to have regulations. I mean, there are tens of thousands of homes in this area where entire communities, I mean, we're talking about thousands of homes in a community that were built for the purpose of short-term renting. So, I mean, to take away short-term rentals, you'd have the entire population up in arms at you. So we felt like that was a pretty significant barrier for those regulations. And that was why we went. We only pick markets that are that are pretty saturated, pretty large markets, because that tax revenue is pretty significant for the cities, and they like that. So, you know, if you're just a fly on the wall, they don't really care about you as much. But if you're joining a larger army of short-term rental hosts, then that's a different ballgame.
That's interesting, because you pick saturated markets where most people will stay away from saturated markets.
Right, and that's because we have the ability to differentiate ourselves with the theming, right? If we didn't have that, it would be, you know, it would have to be a little bit more strategic, but we can differentiate ourselves anywhere.
Yeah, the thing about it, I think Disney's already has regulations, right? So you're kind of safe. Not Disney, but Orlando and Kissimmee, you have those regulations, right? So it's safe. That's actually, man, that's a really good, you know, strategy. That's why I tell people too, if you go somewhere with regulations, that it's, you know, a lot of the economy is dependent upon it. That's a great strategy, especially if you're going to put type of capital into it.
100%.
Nice. So would you go to Houston? It's very saturated over there.
I haven't even looked at the numbers for Houston. It hasn't come up on my radar. But we have really high profitability targets that are, quite frankly, very difficult to meet right now. But yeah, we look for like a 20% gross yield, meaning like 20% of your purchase price needs to come back in revenue every year. So I haven't seen Houston meet that threshold yet.
So you only do purchasing, you don't do arbitrage?
We haven't done any arbitrage. I mean, we've wanted to have full control of the experience, because if we did arbitrage, we wouldn't be able to like do the renovations that we're doing with these homes. For example, we bought a 3-bedroom home in Destin where we turned it into a 6-bedroom home. And not only do you get the equity appreciation from that, but you get to rent it for a heck of a lot more. And the location was just prime, but we got to take advantage of a home that was almost dilapidated and you know, like I said, turn it from a 3 to a 6. And that was big time for us.
Now, are you only doing single family and no multifamily?
Yeah, we haven't done any multifamily at this stage. Not that we're closed-minded to it, but multifamily's just been a little bit overpriced the last few years, in my opinion.
That's true. Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just gonna say, one thing that stands out where you said, you know, themed, is there's different types of themed properties. I know there's different themes, but the way you said it, that was pretty cool, because, you know, you got your Disney themed, or you said theme park themed properties, which is a different type than, you know, the Great Gatsby and doing movies and stuff like that. So I thought that was a cool differentiation. Is that a word?
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead, Mike. I cut you off. My bad.
Oh no, I kind of had it because of that 250K startup. I know you said you're looking at a specific return. So when you spend like 250K starting up, are you using like OPM? Or are you guys coming out of pocket cash? You know,
no, that's all OPM. Yeah.
OPM? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first ones. So my partners, when I partnered up with a real estate flipping team, or husband and wife flipping team, Brittany and Kyle, and they'd been flipping homes across the country for a while. But they had, you know, because they'd been flipping homes for a while, they had investors that had worked with them in the past. You know, they had done short money or done you know, loans for them. And so they basically had a reputation and said, hey, we're going to try this new short-term rental idea. They said, that's cool. And we started that way. And then as that grew, we started raising funds and things like that, where we could pool them together. And that's kind of the stage we're at now.
Wow.
How did you make that 3-bedroom into a 6-bedroom?
Well, the entire first floor. So imagine, you know, those beach homes that are on stilts?
Yeah.
The entire first floor, I mean, it wasn't on the beach, so it's not like we were building like where the water would come, but like a lot of these homes would just have a garage underneath the home. And so we basically took the garage out and converted the whole main floor into 4-bed, 2-bath. And it turned it, well, I guess yeah, that's what we did with it. And it turned it anyway, 6-bed total.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
and because it kind of piggybacks off what you were saying, how many rooms you got. Now, how many people do you advertise to sleep there?
Typically what we do is like bedrooms times 2 plus 2. So you take like 4 bedrooms would be an 8 plus 2 on the couch, 10. 6 bedroom, you have 12, you have 2 in each bedroom, so you have 12 plus 2 would be 14. 8, so for the 8 bedrooms, you've got 16 plus, 18.
I think that's cool because, like, to me, I see Destin as like a place where like a big family would go.
Yeah.
as like, you go to Miami Beach, you might not want an 8-bedroom house in Miami Beach because couples go there and stuff like that, right? I don't know the demographics, but I'm saying Destin. I've been to Destin twice. I love it. White sand beaches, redneck Riviera. It's beautiful, man. And so we went in a big group, but we rented these. They have these condos on the beach, right? That are like 4 or 5 bedrooms. It's like it's built for big groups to go rent these places. Bunk beds everywhere. I mean, it was really cool. So yeah, that's definitely works perfect for the Destin market, I would think.
100%. Yeah, we intentionally went with the bigger homes because there's a lot of hotels in the area. And if you're competing with hotels, you want to be different. And the economics don't work as well if you're competing with a hotel and you're a 2-bedroom home, because renting 2 hotels is about the same price as renting a 2-bedroom house after you consider cleaning fee, Airbnb's fee, and everything else. You might as well just get a hotel on the beach, right? But if you're in a 6-bedroom home, well, now you're sharing it with 3 families and the economics work out way, way better in your favor. So that's really why we went with bigger homes on the beach.
Now, with something like that, like especially like in Disney, where you starting up these high, startup costs, is there a time like do they see slow seasons like near Disney?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, January, February, just like anybody, is a slow season. November, October is a slow season, but not as extreme as you'd see like on the beach. I mean, obviously the beach is like you got 4 months out of the year to kill it, and then you're just gonna have to like eat it for the rest of the months of the year. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely seasonality for sure.
I would love to go in January or February to Disney because I mean right now it's just brutal heat. Why would you want to go when it's so freaking hot, right?
Totally. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the reason it's so seasonal, even in Orlando, is because, especially with big homes, and that's another thing people have to think about when they think about big homes, is they generally are more seasonal because you have to get the whole family off of school and work. If you're renting a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, well, they can work from wherever they are. Usually, there's just less seasonality. So bigger homes generally are more seasonal for that reason.
Nice.
No, and when it's seasonal like that, like during those down seasons, how do you guys pivot and adjust your strategy to accommodate for that?
I mean, pricing obviously is a big one, but we tend to focus hard on the peak season so that we make enough revenue that it offsets the slow season. And that's how we ran the numbers when we first did it, is we said, okay, we know we're going to lose money in January, February, maybe even November or whatever. How much do we have to make in the summertime to offset that? And is it still worth it? And it was. And so, I've heard of different strategies. You can convert to a midterm rental. You can do a lot of things, but what we found was, at least in our areas, it was still more profitable to rent. Even if we only rented a couple of nights in the month, it was still more profitable than renting like the full month at a severely discounted rate. And you run into issues or risks with doing that as well. We didn't really like the idea of like a family staying for a full month in one of our themed homes. So yeah, it just fit us better to kind of eat it during the down season and charge a premium in the peak season.
Nice. All right, let's get to what this Intellihost thing is. It would, like I said before, optimization software that buses source data. What does all that mumbo jumbo mean, Jeff?
Yeah. So, like I said, I mentioned before, we're pretty data driven. We're very analytical, and that's how we picked Orlando. That's how we picked Destin. That's how we picked Poconos. But in the process of optimizing our listings, I found that I was underwhelmed by the amount of data that was coming out of Airbnb and VRBO, and I needed more information to be able to understand how to optimize my listings on the OTAs. I don't know if you ever ran into this, but like you try to like update your cover image or you get new photos and you're like, okay, did that work? Did it help? And I wanted to see things like, did it improve my ranking? Did it improve my click rate? Did it improve my conversion rate? Like, what is this actually doing for my listing? And I couldn't find that anywhere until I finally dug deep enough into Airbnb to realize that it's actually there, but it's not in a format that's actually helpful. And I had to actually build my own technology that would collect Airbnb's data at a granular level and then manipulate it to be something I could actually make decisions with. And so I hired a guy to just build that in-house, and we started using it with Loma Homes for about a year. And it changed the game for us. Like we had no idea that we were, for example, getting killed in our click rate. Even though we were getting ranked really, really well on Airbnb, we weren't converting our guests as well as our competitors were. And so we were able to take those insights, make the changes, drive more revenue, just from that. So we took that tool that we were using internally and decided to just make it available to everybody. And that's what we called Intellihost. So we released it just this March, and it's just taken fire, and to the point where we're like almost having to tell people to stop signing up because it's almost like breaking the system. But yeah, I mean, tech comes with its own challenges, but yeah, it's been really exciting to be able to deliver that value to our customers as well.
Because I think I've seen something similar. Are yours still the only one, or is there others, competitors?
I mean, I would say most consider one of our competitors RankBreeze. I don't know if you've heard of RankBreeze.
Yeah, I have heard Rank. I saw a friend of the show, Heba, was walking me and Federico through that, and it was telling you, what title is going to be stronger for you, and it has them all ranked and stuff like that. That was interesting.
Yeah. RankBreeze specializes in like what position you are in the ranking of Airbnb. So they kind of specialize in that one step, and we kind of try to focus on the entire funnel to help you diagnose your listing.
So you guys mainly focus on like the OTAs like Airbnb and VRBO, or are you guys strictly Airbnb?
Well, so VRBO doesn't have enough data available to be useful to the host. So there's nothing we can do with VRBO yet until they release more data. So it's 100% Airbnb, but the good news is your listings are almost identical, and the way guests book a property is almost identical on Airbnb and VRBO. They're the same 4 steps, meaning you have to appear in search, you have to get on the first page of that search, you have to get clicked, and then you have to get booked. And if you have the same listing on both platforms, what works for one is probably going to work for the other. Obviously, there will be some ranking differences in how the algorithms work between Airbnb and VRBO, but for the most part, you can optimize one and get both.
Nice. Now, like, because you guys are pulling data straight from Airbnb. A few months ago or last year, they started having the algorithm changes where if you got a cleaning fee on there, you're ranked here and all that. Was your software able to adapt to that and then provide useful data to people?
So we didn't have the tool available to everyone yet when that release was made. We had our own properties hooked up to it. Like I said, we were kind of using it internally. We didn't see any major ranking changes when they made that change. But I know that our properties are really unique, right? So we're kind of uniquely positioned. We bring in a lot of outside traffic from just our own website and from social media. I mean, like our Wizard's house got like 3 million views on Facebook in like a week. And so that throws off your numbers a little bit, right? And so it's hard to tell exactly what impact.
You got 3 million views?
Yeah, our Wizard's home. Yeah, so if you look up Loma Homes, you'll see. You may have seen it on social media. I don't know. A lot of people, if you're in the STR space, it's a lot of people are like, oh, wait a minute, I think I've seen that house on Facebook or whatever. But yeah, that was a couple of years ago, and you can see it on YouTube and stuff. See a tour of it.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, so like when that happened, that release, and everybody was freaking out, Was there like a big difference if you had a cleaning fee or didn't have a cleaning fee? Did y'all do any like research to see if that actually made a difference?
We're running the analytics now. So because we have all of this data coming in from all these different sources, we're able to actually run A/B tests and analyses on what impact those types of fees are having on conversion rates. So the analysis is still in progress, but what I will say is, well, I'll give you some anecdotal findings. But we've been analyzing properties that have additional guest fees. So for example, if you have, for those properties, you have like, it'll accommodate 12, but anything over 8 is an additional X dollars or whatever. So if you have, additional $20 per guest over 8, that will kill your conversion rate by like 75%. So if you're, most people that remove those get like a 4 to 5x increase in bookings overnight. And
because for not charging for extra guests.
Right. Yep. Because what's happening is everyone wants to want to get the most house for the least amount of money, right? So if you say that you allow up to 16, well, people are looking for the house up to 16. And when they get to your property and they actually select 16 guests, they're getting a price way over what they thought, and they just leave.
I hate that.
Yeah. So if you want to quadruple your bookings overnight, that's one way. The other way, just anything you can do to remove those extra fees or any friction in the checkout process has a dramatic impact on conversion rate. I just got an email from a guy yesterday. I was like, hey, analyze your property, had some additional guest fees. I recommend you remove them. He emailed me the next day. He's like, holy crap, I did that. And I just got like 5 bookings today. But that's the beauty of what Intellihost is doing, is it's showing you how you're doing on each step. And he was killing it on the top of his funnel. Like search, no problem. First page, no problem. Clicks, he's killing it. And then boom, his funnel just got pinched right at the bottom. And I was like, something's going on here. So I looked into it, and sure enough, he had extra guest fees, and it made a huge difference.
I love how you said that, making it easier on the checkout process. Because I just went to your website, man, and I love how you set it up to where you can do a virtual tour, do like an actual walkthrough of the property straight from your computer, and then you're using the Hostfully widgets to set up the booking. Like, I love that. And then you're not dependent upon the OTAs, you use them, but not dependent upon them. That's actually a really good way. And I'm starting to see a lot more people using that landing page method. And that's awesome that you're doing that. By the way, if anyone wants to look at how to run a direct booking website, definitely look at that, because that's a great way to do it.
Thanks.
Definitely.
Now what about, I assume that there's a huge difference between no pets allowed and pets allowed. There's a huge, and what is the 4x, 5x? What is it?
I wouldn't say 4 or 5x. We did just run an analysis on that, and what was cool is we could do kind of an A/B test where we had about, I think it was 20 properties. I think it was about 20 properties that turned on allows pets, and so what we did is we watched those properties for 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks after, and what happened is the top line funnel, so like the amount of times they appeared in search, increased by, on average, 26%. 26% increase on your bookings, pretty significant, and that was average. So like some areas saw way more than that. But I would say 26% is pretty safe increase if you add pets.
And what about pet fee versus no pet fee? Did y'all do something like that?
Yeah, I haven't looked at that one yet, but I would suppose that it would have the same, any extra fees at the end are going to have the same impact on your conversion rate. So it's really just a matter of, is the net benefit worth it? Because if you get an extra 26% of eyeballs on the property, but then you lose 50% of them because of the extra pet fee, I just don't know how many people you'd lose because of the extra pet fee yet. But I imagine it'd be pretty significant. But our properties, we allow pets because of that impact, and we have seen an increase in bookings. So you're going to get an increase in bookings, and the pet fee will help offset that. Just depends on if you want to. And I guess what we really find is people, when they see the pet fee, they just say that they don't have a pet, and they bring the pet anyways. So like you might as well just bake it into your base price and get more conversions from it, in my opinion.
Now, how are you baking something like that into your base price?
It's a tricky one because it depends obviously on the length of stay and all of that, but you kind of figure in your average length of stay and figure, okay, if you have to make a lot of assumptions on how many people are bringing pets and whatnot, and just put a number in there that increases that revenue number.
Yeah, I've been matter of fact, Steve and Fetty brought this one to us. What we've been doing is to kind of bake it in there. There's this, we never noticed this until Fetty told us. If you put everything under management fee, it doesn't show up on Airbnb. It just goes into the nightly rate. And so we've been using, and it's been like working like a charm. You can put pet fee in there and any type of fee, and the guest just sees it as, spread out. So if you have someone stay 2 weeks, it's just spread out. So
it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man.
Good. That's working for you.
Sean Rakovich. I never know how to say his name. You know him, Airbnb automated guy on YouTube. I don't know. He's pretty big in the industry.
I know Sean Moore, but I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure the Sean you're talking about.
I don't know. Anyways, what he's all about data and analyzing data, and he tells us, he's telling us what we should do to our units to get more bookings and all that stuff. He mentioned A/B testing. Yeah. And he says he spends hours doing A/B testing. And I'm sure, I mean, if he used your software, it'd probably make his life a lot easier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, because the thing is Airbnb, like I said, if you try to use Airbnb's data to A/B test, you can't actually look at Airbnb's data to A/B test, because what you're looking at when you go on Airbnb and you're looking at the data, what you're actually looking at is the data based on when people are actually looking to book. So they're looking at forward-looking data, meaning if I want to see clicks, I can see how many clicks I got for the trip date of tomorrow, but I can't see how many total clicks I got yesterday. I can see how many clicks the book date of yesterday got before yesterday, but I can't actually see how many total clicks. And so when you change something, what happens is all your future trip dates have some kind of effect or some kind of impact. But how would you measure that? It's spread across all of your future trip dates. And so what Intellihost does is it pulls all of that, calculates how much net increase you're getting each day, and then shows you your data. So I don't know how in the world he could possibly A/B test without some kind of software to collect that for him and do it. But then what we actually do, we have what's called the change tracker. And anytime you change something on your listing, we automatically detect that, put it into the change tracker, and show you impact before and after on each of those 4 metrics. So you don't even have to log anything. You just change stuff, and you can come back to Intellihost later and see how it planned out.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
awesome. And yeah, I assume you'll do a monthly fee for this.
Yeah, it's just a subscription fee. It's priced almost the exact same as Price Lab. So $19.99 a month for your first property, and then there's a breakdown for additional properties. You get discounts for the more properties you have.
Now, did you do testing on the pricing?
We have a little bit. I mean, not a whole lot. We ask a lot of different customers to figure out, and we kind of got this sense that there's threshold in the market. I think the companies like Price Lab, Wheelhouse have just kind of set the expectation on what people are willing to pay for this kind of software, and we just fit right in.
That makes sense, because I don't know, I always bring up on the show marketing. They never want you to buy the medium popcorn, right? They want to bump you up to get the large popcorn, so you got to price it accordingly, so they'll buy the large box.
Yeah. we didn't take it that seriously, honestly. That's probably the part of our software we spent the least time on. We said, hey, what will the market hold? And we just stuck a pin in the board, I think. And we just we'll adjust if we have to. But that's the idea. I mean, what we want to do eventually is come out with some much more robust and intelligent recommendations that uses AI and machine learning to figure out what's working on the algorithms and give you really specific recommendations to your property for that. So that's coming, but that'll be a premium, service one day when we get there. So
now you brought up AI. Now, what kind of effect do you see that having on data, especially in the short-term rental space, on Airbnb data? What kinds of things have you guys starting to see? What data are you pulling from AI, and how useful is it
for our product specifically?
Yeah.
The way we're using it's more like, I shouldn't call it AI, because the reality is more like machine learning, but what we're doing is taking this data that we're getting from all of our customers, and we're able to synthesize trends, right? And able to say, okay, how many reviews does it take to optimize your listing on Airbnb? Statistically, what's that point at which you're kind of optimized? Like the additional review doesn't really matter that much, right? Or like, what's the most optimized review score? I mean, sure, 5 is the best, but is 4.8 good enough? Is 4.9 good enough, right? So those are the types of ways that we're using AI to pull out insights and deliver them back to our customers, so that there's data to back the myths. There's just so many myths. Like when I first started this business, it was like I just go to Google whatever I could, and it was like this guru and that guru, and everyone was like, oh, I know what works. And it was like, where's your data? Like, how do I know that you really know what's going on? And they had anecdotal evidence that they'd done it with their one property and it worked. It was like, okay. And so that's really where Intellihost was born. Is like, I just wanted data to prove it. So that's what we're all about.
Not taking Airbnb at face value. Trust but verify. I love it.
100%.
It's funny you should say, yeah, this guru said this guru said that. There's a bunch of drama on a Clubhouse about these gurus being busted for scamming people. So
no, I haven't heard about that. Like on Airbnb's gurus?
Airbnb gurus, yeah, out there taking people's money and not delivering what they're promising for some reason. It's weird.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Well, they say men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly my favorite quote is similar.
So can you give us some more cool things? Like, okay, let's say, for example, titles. What kind of titles are strong and getting you them clicks?
You know what? I hate to, this might be a revelation to a lot of people, but titles don't seem to matter much. I'll be honest. So we actually did a whole analysis on just emojis in titles, for example. There's a lot of controversy around emojis in titles because it's technically against the Airbnb policy. So you're not supposed to put emojis in titles. They've specifically put that in their terms and conditions. So the theory is if you do that, Airbnb is going to penalize you in rank. But everyone says that it's going to stand out more and you're going to get clicked more. Well, neither of those are true. Actually, Airbnb does not penalize for your emojis, and nobody cares about the emojis in your title. Nobody's clicking on it just because it has emojis there. So the increase, in fact, if anything, it's like we saw almost zero increase for titles that had emojis in them. And like I said, there's no penalty. So it really doesn't matter. People freak out about titles. But if you've noticed, like when Airbnb made their most recent update, I shouldn't say the most recent, the 2 updates ago, they made the title so small and so insignificant that people just don't read it. Like what's bigger is like apartment in Chattanooga, right? They made that part bigger than your actual title. And so I just think titles are overrated, to be honest. And people think that like the right keywords matter, but where have you ever used a keyword on Airbnb? Like, do people use keywords on Airbnb? I've never seen it. And so I think people just overanalyze what's working and what's not in the algorithm, and they come up with their own conclusions and even build whole software around it, and it's just not true. We've just never seen any data to suggest that keywords make any difference on Airbnb.
What are, since you brought up the title not making a good, not really having an effect, what are some things that that has an effect on how often someone's getting booked?
Yeah, so we've seen a couple things as far as like, it depends on what step you're talking about, right? So if we're talking about impressions, so let's start with top line. Top line meaning impressions appearing in search is all about filters. So if you want more filters, the biggest thing is your calendar. Just make sure all your dates are open. Make sure you have the lowest minimum night stay you're willing to allow. Make sure you have as many amenities as possible, and you'll get in search a lot. The next thing is obviously step 2 is getting on first page. Now, the thing that really drives first page results is, I'd say, 3 major things. It's your review count, your review score, and unfortunately, your price, your like all out price. I hate to admit it because nobody wants to just drop their price to get ranked, but I'll give you an example. One of our own properties, we dropped it by 15% and got 5x increase in first page impressions. So Airbnb, especially, and we're in a competitive market, so it's very elastic, right? The search is very elastic, but those three really big things are going to impact your ranking. As far as clicks go, it's all about your cover image, your hero image, however you want to call it, is huge. Like that's a really big deal. Price is also an issue with click rate. And then whether you're a Superhost status or not, it helps click rate. And then just having some reviews. So we've seen a lot of properties where it's still so new. A lot of people don't want to be guinea pigs, so that's not great for your click rate. And then finally, we talked a little bit on the conversion side. Professional photos. I cannot stress that enough. Like that, you will die if you don't have good professional photos. And then removing like guest fees and stuff like that. And then I would say the third thing is making sure your description is not, I call it draconian. Like it cannot be all caps, if you party, I will kill you. You know, that type of language that are like, my rules are super strict and I will turn you into the feds. Like you can't like scare people because it just makes you look like a nasty host. And that's a really good way to scare people away. So I just gave you like a 5-minute crash course on how to optimize your Airbnb, but I think that those are like the main drivers of each of those 4 steps.
You know, it's so funny because like it reminds me of back of the Craigslist days. You know, when I would look for something on Craigslist, and someone would have like you said, you know, this is the price. I'm not moving. I'm not budgeting. If you don't waste my time, don't tire kickers. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even gonna call that guy. You know, he sounds like an ass. Sounds like an asshole already. And if he would have just prices like $100 to $200 higher and said, yeah, negotiable, I'm like, I'm gonna call him. You know, it sounds like everybody likes to think that they're getting over on, you know, getting a little bit more, right? So why be an asshole in your description? You know, no partying, we'll throw you out, we'll call the cops, police live next door, you know, all that shit. You know, just people go on a vacation, they want to unwind, they don't want to be going to like you know, a penal colony.
Oh yeah, can't agree more.
And you know what? Like I used to be really strict with that until I used Chat GPT to write the rules. I told him to write the rules in a friendly tone, and that definitely helped. I got that one from the Vacation Rental Bible book. It was a really good book. But you said something. You said when they have that new next to their listing, that it kind of hurts them a little bit, because we've always been under the impression that like when you have a new listing, you get booked almost immediately, right? So like, how is that? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so we finished a analysis on that specifically, and what we found is that we set out to bust the myth of ranking boost for new properties. And what we did is we pulled all the new properties that had set up with us since they started. And it's true that Airbnb does boost your rank in the beginning. In fact, by about day 4 after listing, it kind of peaks. And when it peaks, you're about 14% above the average first page impression. So your first page impression rate, the average rate for at least our customers is like 45%. And by day 4, those new guys had gone above that average by about 14%. The reason you get so many bookings in that early stage is because you are, when you first listed, are the only ones with all calendar dates available. Everyone else has booked the most popular days already. So you're appearing on first page a lot, but also just on average, it does look like Airbnb gives you a boost on day 4, and then it gradually decreases over the length of about 30 days. But for the first 2 weeks are critical to show Airbnb that you're relevant, that you can get bookings and all of that, and make sure, that you get full credit for that new time period. But it's not a click rate. It's not because people are more likely to click on you. It's because Airbnb is boosting you and all your dates are available. That's what's driving those bookings in the early stage. That's
a good way to put it, man. It's like Airbnb gives you that crack pipe high. You get it one time, you get those bookings, and you keep chasing that first high. Now you're addicted. But another thing you said price has an effect as well. So like, let's say you're in a market, like you're in Orlando, right? It's a very saturated market. Let's say, now this is what I want to know, how this affects someone. Let's say that new guy comes in, right? Everyone else is charging $2,000-$3,000 a night. Let's just throw those numbers out there, right? But this guy's like, I want to get reviews. He's charging like $500 a night. Now, does that help him or hurt him?
It depends on how you want to define help or hurt, because it will help him in the rankings. I think it will hurt him. Well, it'll give him a lot of crappy guests. And so I think it's just going to destroy his property. He's probably going to want to, he's going to want to quit his job. But I would say that it's going to help him on Airbnb. He'll get on page one, no problem. And guess what? This is the part I don't know, is click rate, right? When somebody sees that and it's a fourth of the price as everybody else and they have 0 reviews, to me, that would be a warning flag. I think there's a point at which you're too low and people wonder what's wrong with it. So you want to come in, you want to start out of the gate lower than your competition so that you can get those reviews, but you don't want to be too low, because in my opinion, again, I don't have data to prove this, so I want to be careful there. But I think if you're too low, you scare people away, but I'll be wrong.
I think so too. Because we were running into this issue, right? We were charging more than the neighbors next door, and we weren't getting booked. But the neighbors next door were cheaper than us, but they had more amenities. They had a hot tub, pool, So that came into place. We're like, well, damn, we got to lower our prices. We can't outbid the guy next door, and he's got all this stuff over here. So that's what I was kind of getting at. Okay, that makes sense though. Yeah,
for sure.
So what about like when, let's, for example, my company, we manage other properties, and so we'll co-host, right? So we might take over someone's Airbnb, and then we co-host it, and you see our picture there with our shiny Superhost badge. Now, even though that property isn't a Superhost property, it shows that we're the host and we have the badge. Does that, I mean, kind of, let's hear what I'm saying? Like, does it make a difference?
I think the badge does help. Now, we haven't seen any dramatic impact. Like, we don't see a lot of people searching in the searches for Superhost. So like top line search volume, haven't seen a big difference there. I do suspect though that, and Airbnb has stated that they don't reward Superhost in ranking, like they don't boost it for ranking. I don't know yet, but as far as click rate goes, it is a flag on the cover image, and so I do think it improves your click rate. More to come on that though.
Okay. Because I remember back in the day, I remember, Micah, you were saying you didn't give a damn about Superhost.
Yeah, still don't, but I'm not really, I've kind of moved my business off the platform in midterm. So yeah, I understand it, because I do have one of my accounts just got Superhost back, because that's when there's kind of like a flaw there. And I haven't hosted on that account in like a year, but I got my Superhost badge back because I don't know that I hadn't hosted, but yeah.
What about? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So what about people say, okay, discounts make a huge difference. So like if someone's going to book a month, they're going to get a 50% discount. So raise your monthly price to 10,000 because you really want 5,000 anyways. So whenever they click on it's 30 days, it's going to knock it down to 5,000. Like, holy shit. And they're going to book. Does that make a huge difference? All these fancy, different discounts that you're offering and this and that?
I don't think so. And the reason I think that is because you think about how people search on Airbnb. Meaning I think discounts work, but I don't think it works to increase price to discount price, right? Just to increase it to discount it. I don't think that works, because the way people are searching is they go on Airbnb and they get this search result and they select dates. Like 90% of people select dates for when they want to go. And when you do that, Airbnb is basing the rate off of those dates. And so if you select a full week, well, they're baking in your discount into the final rate. Now, they won't even see the fact that it's discounted until they actually click on that property and go to check out. And they're like, whoa, I'm getting a deal. So maybe if they think I'm getting a sweet deal when they get to with the actual landing page, maybe that would help. But in my opinion, like I said, they're searching with dates already. So they're clicking on the properties that meet their budget and what they're looking for. So that's my opinion. I wish I had like a definitive answer for you, but I generally don't agree with the principle of market up to market down.
No.
And go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna.
One more thing on that, and let Micah take it over. So like I hear, add a discount to like, okay, they're gonna book 4 days. Hey, they're gonna get a discount if they book another day. You know what I'm saying? Does that actually make a difference and help make people want to book another day just so they'll get like a discounted price?
It could. I mean, like I said, I don't have a definitive answer, but I know that with our guests, when we, we'll email them and say, if we want to fill a little, gap in our calendar, and we're like, hey, if you want to extend an extra day, we'll give you half off. A lot of people take you up on that. So I would imagine that if it's a similar, psychological benefit, then it could, that if they're going to get 6, then they might try 7. But and this is just my personal experience, but when I don't really think to try that on Airbnb. Like if I have dates that I want to go, I select those dates and I say, okay, I see the price. I don't think, hey, maybe I can get a discount if I put one more day. Like it's just not, I don't think most guests are intuitively doing that. But they might. I could be wrong.
And one more question I had about, like, have you seen like an algorithm ranking or a ranking of where people are booking when people have instant book on or off?
Well, what we did an analysis on instant booking, and we did not see a change. So to give you a little more context, we ran an analysis on people who changed from no instant book to instant book. And we didn't see any change on top line, so they didn't appear in search more often. We didn't see any change in rank. They didn't appear on first page more often. And we didn't see any increase in clicks, but their conversion rate doubled. So when they actually got to their listing page, they were twice as likely to check out if they could just just book it right there instead of having to inquire.
My friend, he does something very strange, but it seems to work for him. He creates 2 listings for all of his places, right? He has one with instant book on and one with instant book off. The one that has instant book off, he keeps the calendar open all the time. And I'm like, how the hell would you do that? He goes, well, he creates it. He goes, but he creates it based off, let's say you have a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. He'll have multiple listings of that. Because let's say the instant book off one, they have to inquire about it, right? If they inquire, he'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have this one available. And then he'll send them to the Airbnb link of a one that's very similar to it. So then they'll decline it on their end, and he doesn't have to decline it. And then he'll send them there, and then he'll get them to book there. Have you seen like people doing that? My friend Rob told me. I was like, it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, damn, I could do that.
Some people are just brilliant.
Yeah, that was savvy as hell. I'm like,
that's crazy. That is crazy savvy. I never would have thought of that because, like I said, the biggest driver of getting more eyeballs on your property is just being available. Yeah. So if his property is always available, he'll probably get on page 1 a lot, especially for peak timeframes. We're like, oh man, the danger though he's running is that is absolutely against Airbnb's policy. So if he gets caught, his whole account could be shut down. So yeah, he might be seeing some good revenue from it, but he's running some risks there.
I didn't know that was against the policy.
Well, you're not supposed to have double listings. Yeah.
Well, no, he's not switching. He's just saying, hey, this one's not available, but this one is. If you want to book it, you can. Precisely, I was like, I never thought to do that.
But didn't you say he has 2 listings for every property?
Yeah.
So that's the problem. If he has 2 listings for the same property, that's what they don't like.
Oh, interesting.
But we've all been doing that for a while because what if they do shut our account down? We have another account where we can keep getting bookings. We've always had that backup.
Well, no, not accounts. We're talking about just a listing
on the same account.
Oh yeah, on the same account.
That's where I think your risk is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
because my first thing I told him, I'm like, well, hold on, if these places aren't available, aren't you getting in trouble because you're declining them essentially? He's like, no. They usually decline it if they're interested in the other place. So I was just like, I haven't tried it yet, but it was on my mind to try it. But yeah, I was just like, I never thought to do that. But he says he only does it if he has like multiple properties that are similar, like that can host the same type of family. Like if he has 3-2 or 3-3, he won't do it. So I was like, I never thought to do that. But yeah, I was pretty.
And it does seem like it's savvy. It does seem like a little bit more work. I mean, he's got to like work, he's got to message him and kind of work that. And,
Yeah.
But I mean, if it gets some more bookings, then hey, I mean, who am I to say that I can't work?
Yeah. So that's.
I'll do that with like Furnish Finder. I'll have a property. Let's say I have a bunch of 1-bedrooms in Dallas, right? I'll leave one up there at all times. Never, even if it gets booked or whatever, I never close the calendar. I always leave the calendar wide open because someone will, hey, I like this property, blah, blah, blah. And if it's booked, I'll say, oh, this one just got booked, but I got a bunch of others just like it. Boom, boom, boom. I send them all the links, That, and also on Zillow when I book I always leave the calendar wide open on Zillow because it's the same thing. Because I have a lot of properties and some of them are similar, and I can just always send them to the other properties. But I never thought about doing that in Airbnb. That's interesting.
Either I was like, dang, but it works for him. I was shocked that I just never thought to do that. But yeah.
The bait well, not a bait and switch. You said it's not a bait and switch. Sounded like a bait and switch.
No, he's just saying it's not available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought to that. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess if you have instant book off, you could say that. But yeah, man, it was very interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. That is cool, man. You're giving us a lot of good advice today. What could rank us higher? Of course, your software does it all for us. That's cool. Can we do like a trial of it? Check it out.
Yeah. So we have a 30-day free trial, which gives our customers kind of that main dashboard, their funnel, so they can see how they're performing. They can see like their A/B tester, their change tracker. We have something called the price tweaker, so you can kind of benchmark against competition. The only thing that's not part of the free trial is the recommendations portion. But yeah, you can sign up for free, test it out, and then you can subscribe as many properties, as few or as many as you want. You can get the monthly subscription, or you can get 20% off for an annual subscription as well.
Nice, man. I guess one of the biggest epiphanies, right, on this episode is like there's so many gurus out there saying do this to your title and it's gonna bump you up, do this to your listing, but they don't have, like you said, where are they getting this data from? This is just like a word of mouth thing that's been passed around gurus and say, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it and you're gonna rank higher, and yep. All 10,000 of their students do it, and same thing. I don't know. So, but you're actually coming with the data, with the real numbers.
That's
I
right.
like that. Cool, man.
Awesome.
Well, you got any more questions for our man, Jeff Brown? Micah?
One, where can people sign up for your software? And then where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.intellihost, INTELLIHOST.co. That's .co. And you can email me at Jeff, JEFF, @intellihost.co as well. You can also find us. So if you follow us on social media, we're releasing a lot of all the analyses that I just talked about. We do short videos on those. We put them on TikTok and Instagram. You can go look at those. And we also do deep dive analyses on YouTube, so you can see how to optimize a property and what to look for in your listing.
What's your name on TikTok?
Intellihost.co.
Okay.
Yeah.
TikTok, I think it's Intellihost.co. It might just be Intellihost.
Okay.
My marketing guy runs that.
Yeah.
But that's our Instagram for sure.
Again, harking back to it, I just love it when you hear a random someone in our industry, a host, say, oh man, I did this tweak on my listing and I got like tons of bookings like right away, but there's so many variables, dude. What if you were the only calendar open? What if it was, there's so many things but they swear that they found the secret sauce, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but numbers don't lie.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Jeff Brown, for hopping on the show. We will stay in touch, and I'm going to try that Intellihost stuff and prove my theories right, because my theories are all right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Now you having me on. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Thank you for coming on, and look to see you on the other side.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that was Jeff Brown with Intellihost, man. That was a good episode. A lot of good data-driven stuff, man. I liked it. We debunked a few myths, so yeah, it was pretty cool.
I love that, man, and to have that toy to play with him and his partner to go, hey, let's go see if this was actually true, Yeah. And it's funny because, like I said, people swear, oh, I did this and it did this, I got 10 bookings right away, but I'm sure everybody exaggerates in life. Plus, how many people have the same exact stuff on Airbnb or different variations, and then the calendar might just be freaking open, like he said.
Yeah, that's what I've always said, man. It's like one change for you doesn't necessarily mean the change for another person, but that's kind of where I'm like, you kind of got to take over your own SEO at some point, because if Airbnb controls it, and I think Sean made a really good point the other day. He goes, Airbnb can't cater to every host. It would actually go against their best interest to cater to every host. So there has to be some fine line of, you kind of have to go out on your own and do your own marketing, because they just can't do it for you. They can't cater to all the, it's too many listings, right? So it's real. That was really interesting stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to try out Intellihost for myself.
Yes, sir.
And great episode, brother. It's great to have you back. Everything going good?
Yeah, going good. We'll be out of town, heading out of town Thursday, and then I'll be back again Monday. So hopefully we can crush. Well, I don't even know if I'll be able to. I'll probably have to let one of our guys sub in for me on Monday and crush some more podcasts, man. Sorry, I've been missing in action lately, man. A lot going on with the family, but everything's gonna be all right. So yeah, I still look forward to putting down some more LLT gold, baby.
LLT, baby. Keep it going.
Yes,
Thanks for listening, y'all.
We are out. Oh, yeah, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok. Email us, liveletthrive@gmail.com. Send us a message on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be. Oh, yeah, we are now on Threads. So, yeah, we're now on Threads. So check us out. We're on Twitter as well, but Facebook's version of Twitter, we're on Threads. So, yeah, follow us there as well. And we are out.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.